What's up, traders? Matt from the Trade Brigade here doing a technical analysis on ticker symbol AMD for advanced micro devices. On the left-hand side, we have the daily time frame, and on the right-hand side, the 30-minute intraday time frame. First things first, this will, of course, be an update. You can see our daily roadmap is in place here. Most recently in the stock, we are getting a little bit of an H pattern here, coming in for an equal low off of a notably lower high right here, around 121.60s, after this high that was set closer to the backtest of 132, noting that it was prior support, now offering some resistance on that most recent leg higher. The one sort of interesting thing about this setup here is if I zoom in a little bit, there we go, you'll notice we're also sitting right at the daily 200 SMA. So if all of this support starts to crack, I would imagine that we at least come in for the gap fill from here to here, roughly 106.77 down to 105.77, a perfect dollar gap. It's actually a little bit more than that. Note that I missed here on the bottom of the gap, but nonetheless, you get the gist. That's the first target. You're not trading for that gap range. You're just using that as an area where prices should gravitate towards. And then after that, it's the pivot low, roughly $100 even, right? 99.55 if you want to use the true low of that leg lower from in here, correct? So that's what we've got to the downside, and it does look a little bit more bearish than bullish, noting that H pattern that we discussed and the lower high and equal lows that we're already producing. The one interesting thing is potentially that there is a bit of a hammer candle that printed on last Friday's session. We'll see how we open in relationship to that on the Tuesday session here, but to the upside, I wouldn't really be bullish on AMD unless we can take out that level here around 121.62. In that case, we now have a double bottom, correct? There's your neckline break, looking for that new higher high to continue to take us into the daily resistance trendline and the back test once again of that 132.66, equal high to what we had in there. If that's the case, then potentially look for a larger trend change. If we get something that looks like this, higher lows from here to here, we would be setting that equal high there. And if we can get a higher high, then we now have a high and a higher high. 2 and 2 makes a new uptrend, correct? So that's what we're watching out for in the longer term perspective inside of AMD. Now, from the 30-minute time frame chart, you'll notice a couple of other interesting things. More recently, we are certainly in a downtrend, and you can see that here, barring that big move to the downside there. Here, we just simply have lower highs, lower lows, lower lows, lower lows, correct? So it is in a short-term downtrend. I wouldn't really be starting to look for massive reversals unless we can do something like this. What did I just kind of draw? Inverted head and shoulders, correct? Break of this neckline here, which could roughly coincide with this area around 116. Then maybe that's your long setup to the upside just to get into this first area of resistance, right? We know that here from 121.62. So that's one potential scenario. Holding this for a higher low here to here sets up the breakout up and over the neckline for that target above. That's one bullish scenario, but as we've mentioned from the daily now a number of times, it does look like the bears have the upper hand, so we'll monitor for breakdowns rather of that level, the 112 essentially, for continuation to the downside. The more conservative trader just waits for a breakdown of those lows from Friday, which are roughly around 110.50s, all right? So that's what I've got for you inside of AMD. We talked about down and upside targets. If you enjoyed the video today or learned anything new, let me know in the comment section or by giving the video a thumbs up. Don't forget our main channel is linked in the description. And all of that being said, I wish you a green trading week.